ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। In this session, we'll be discussing from the 11th verse of the 7th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Harer gunakshipta matir Bhagavan Badarayanihi Adhyagat Mahadakhyanam Nityam Vishnu Janapriyaha. The meaning of this verse is, Srila Shukadev Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendently powerful, he also was very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus he underwent the study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahadakhyanam, this great narration of the Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Vyasadeva. The question was raised, why did he take the trouble of undergoing the study of such a vast literature when he was already liberated? So the answer was a very significant verse, the 10th verse, the Atmarama verse. Even liberated souls are attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam because it describes Krishna, who is full of unlimitedly wonderful qualities. He attracts everyone, all kinds of persons, especially all kinds of transcendentalists. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that according to the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, another Purana, not this Bhagavata Purana, another Purana, Srila Shukadev Goswami was a liberated soul even within the womb of his mother. Such a birth is very, very rare. Generally, we take birth because we are forced by the laws of nature to take birth in order to square up our karmic reactions from the previous life or previous lives. But a liberated soul doesn't have any reactions. So there are higher purposes for which such liberated souls appear in the world. Srila Vyasadeva knew that the child after his birth would not stay at home. Vyasadeva is a Trikalagya. He knows past, present and future. So he knew the future of this child was that he would not stay at home. As soon as he would be born, he would just leave home and go away. Therefore, Vyasadeva impressed upon the child the synopsis of the Bhagavatam so that the child could be made attached to the transcendental activities of the Lord. Bhagavatam especially describing the personality of God, its activities, qualities, forms, names, paraphernalia, abode, all personal features of the Absolute Truth. After his birth, that is Shukadev Goswami, who appeared as the son of Vyasadeva, as a liberated soul, the child was still more educated on the subject of the Bhagavatam by recitation of the actual poems, the actual verses of the Bhagavatam. The idea is that, why is Prabhupada telling this? Quoting from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. The idea is that generally the liberated souls are attached to the feature of impersonal Brahman with a monistic view of becoming one with the Supreme Whole. This is the impersonal Brahman understanding. The aim of such impersonalists is that they want liberation by merging their self into the Supreme Whole as impersonal Brahman. But by the association of pure devotees like Vyasadeva, even the liberated soul becomes attracted to the transcendental qualities of the Lord. This is what was elaborately discussed in the previous verse, the 10th verse, the Atmarama verse. By the mercy of Sri Narada, Srila Vyasadeva was able to narrate the great epic of Srimad Bhagavatam. And by the mercy of Vyasadeva, Srila Shukadeva Goswami was able to grasp the import of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The transcendental qualities of the Lord are so attractive that Srila Shukadeva Goswami became detached from being completely absorbed in impersonal Brahman and positively took up the personal activity of the Lord. This we have elaborately discussed in the previous verse. The transcendental qualities of the Lord are millions and billions of times more attractive than the features of the impersonal Brahman. The impersonal Brahman understanding is a neutral stage. Lowest is the material conception, where one thinks in terms of material enjoyment, material gain, material paraphernalia, material existence, material pleasures, that is sense gratification, etc., etc. Material enjoyment in upper planets. But none of these are free from the material miseries, fundamental miseries, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, anudarshanam. So, above the material conception is the impersonal conception of the absolute truth. And that is the neutral stage where one is free from the material miseries or material concept of life, but one has not yet perfected the realization of the absolute truth to the highest degree. So, if somebody mistakes the absolute truth to be only impersonal Brahman, then they cultivate that knowledge and they somehow try to seek satisfaction of realization of the impersonal feature. There is no variety, spiritual variety is lacking. There is no material inebriety or material defect in these realization of the absolute truth as impersonal Brahman. But there is no spiritual variety. So, Srila Prabhupada says, practically he was thrown from the impersonal conception of the absolute, thinking within himself that he had simply wasted so much time in devoting himself to the impersonal feature of the Supreme. After one comes to know of the personal feature, you'll think, why was I wasting time with this impersonal feature? Why do they feel like that? Because he realized more transcendental bliss with the personal feature than the impersonal. This is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Srila Rupa Goswami says that the happiness derived by merging into the impersonal Brahman, feature of the Absolute, if it can, the happiness of that merging can be compared to an ocean, then the transcendental bliss derived from realizing the personal feature is billions and trillions of times more. Billions of times more. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. If the transcendental bliss derived from the personal feature, understanding or realizing the personal feature is compared to an ocean, then the transcendental bliss of merging into the impersonal Brahman is not even equal to one drop. It is much, much less than that. Very insignificant. So therefore, this personal feature has a lot more transcendental bliss to offer than the impersonal feature. From that time, when he became realized in the personal feature after studying the Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, Shukadeva Goswami himself became very dear to the Vishnu Janas, devotees of the Lord. Not only he became very dear to the Vishnu Janas, but also the Vishnu Janas became dear to him. It is reciprocal. The devotees like such a devotee as Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami himself likes devotees of Vishnu. The devotees of the Lord who do not wish to kill the individuality of the living entities and who desire to become personal servitors of the Lord do not very much like the impersonalists. See, the devotees always are interested in all the personal features of the Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead. So the devotees always discuss what? The personal features. The name, the form, the qualities, the activities, the paraphernalia, the abode, the devotees. Like that, the devotees are always absorbed in thought or remembrance or discussion, either hearing or describing, in association with other devotees who similarly relish the personal feature. So therefore, such devotees who relish the personal feature, they don't very much like the impersonalists. And impersonalists who desire to become one with the Supreme are unable to evaluate the devotees of the Lord. The impersonalists think these devotees of Krishna, they are sentimentalists. Because the impersonalists want to eliminate all material variety. The impersonalists mistake the spiritual variety of the personal feature of the Absolute Truth to be something like the material varieties of this material world. Just like when devotees discuss Krishna's activities, especially Krishna appearing in his original feature as a covered boy, as a small covered boy. When devotees discuss, oh, Krishna, he was crawling on his knees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and Nanda Maharaj was absorbed in fondling this child. So they think, what have we got to do with some child and some father fondling the child? They think this is all material description. What they don't realize is Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even when he takes birth in this material world, it is transcendental. Janma karma chame divyam. It is not like the birth of ordinary living entities, conditioned souls. It's not like that. Nanda Maharaj, when he appears in this world to participate in Krishna's pastimes, he is totally liberated soul. He's not a conditioned soul. He has no attraction for any material dealings. He has absolutely no attraction for material dealings. Neither Krishna is interested in any material dealings. So Nanda Maharaj's attraction for Krishna is completely transcendental. That is what Srila Prabhupada is telling here. The impersonalists are unable to evaluate the devotees of the Lord. Thus, from time immemorial, these two categories of transcendental pilgrims have sometimes been competitors. They like to keep their themselves separate from each other because ultimately impersonal and personal realizations don't go together. So, Shukadev Goswami, he became attracted to devotees after realizing the personal feature. And naturally, he would keep away from the impersonals. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.